Hi, I'm Leanne. I'm a lightworker and a mother to 3 special girls. I strive to continue learning, growing, and to collect new skills. I'm a psychic medium, Reiki master teacher, and Akashic record reader and energy healer. I am so excited to share what I've learned and what I'm going to learn and the ups and downs of life. Thank you for joining me on my journey. Welcome to Life of a Lightworker podcast. Hello, thank you for joining me. Today I'm pulling a card from The Rose Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. And this just happens to be the pocket version that comes in a really cute tin. I really love these pocket versions. They're such cute little cards. Alright, my intention is, what do you need to hear about, know about for this upcoming week, or where you are in this part of your life, in this moment of time? What do you need to know? Alright, I had one card pop out. Rapture. Sensuality, love, romance, and pleasure. And I'll be reading from the book. Okay. So, it says, Flora is an ancient Roman goddess of spring and summer. In one myth, she was struck by Cupid's arrow and overwhelmed by love and completely breathless in the moment of rapture, she called for Eros. However, the sound rose came out of her mouth instead, so rose became another word for Eros, and it also became the symbol for love, beauty, and passion. Read another version of the story about Flora naming the rose on page yada yada. I'll just continue on with this. Many patriarchal religions have placed a shameful cloak around sexuality, sex, pleasure, ecstasy, rapture, and sexuality. One of the most natural, pleasurable parts of life has become conditional and judged. The rose wants us to heal from this and to remember that pleasure, sexuality, sexual preference, and expression of desires can be some of the most sacred, miraculous things about being human on earth. This card comes with a message about receiving and giving love and pleasure. Flora wants you to know that your sexuality, sensuality, your passion are sacred and holy. She wants you to connect with your sensual true nature and to celebrate this in all people. And there's Rose transmission here. It says, My sensuality is sacred and holy. Other people's sensuality is sacred and holy. I open myself up to express and receive love in a way that feels safe and good to me. I release painful programming and experiences and return to love. I feel the call to pull another card before intuitively reading. So the next card is Release the Petals. Transformation, shedding, all change. Alright, and from the book, here comes a point where we can't go back. In a seemingly fleeting moment, the road that led us here is suddenly impossible to access. There is a sinking knowing that things will never be the same. A death, a birth, a loss, a growth, an ending, a discovery. No matter how hard you try, things are different now. You're different now. The world's different now. What's been seen can't be unseen. There's no going back. Something new beckons you forth. This is the card of change and transformation. Courage is required for the rebirth to happen. Ascension is the shedding of various parts of an organism, such as a plant dropping a leaf, a flower, fruit, or seed. The rosehip knows, the phoenix does too, and we need to surrender what was to the earth to one day be transformed anew. We can grasp the petals of the past as the changing winds blow, but eventually we'll discover that change is coming. Change is near. Change is already here. And while what once was no longer, and what soon will be is not yet, it's time to release your petals to the wind with wild abandon for the chance to begin again, to offer what once was to the wind and let it nourish the seeds within. It's time to surrender so the transformation can happen. Had the rose not released its petals, the rosehip would not have come to be. When we gather the courage to release what was, we're greeted by the fruits of the future. And the soul inquiry for this is, what are you clinging to for fear of nothing coming to take its place? I feel like the energy behind these cards is, one is the effect of the outside world, of outside people that, anyone that's not you, their effect on you, their thoughts, their beliefs, and the restrictions that places on you. It makes you small, or it distorts who you are. And when you distort that, you have to change yourself. You have to squish, you have to change, mold yourself. And when you do that, you don't allow yourself to be fully yourself, which allows you to have pleasure and joy and love. So by changing yourself, you're reducing the amount of joy that you are able to have. And I feel that's part of the rapture part, where sensuality, love, romance, pleasure, it gets squished out, it gets moved out. And I feel like this is more than just sensuality. I feel like this is pleasure in general. Things that feel good, things that bring joy and happiness and connection, and how all of these outside views and are placed upon us, and that also brings fear upon us, and we're grasping at these petals that are falling, trying to fall away. It's time, but we're holding on to it because it's what we know. It's that fear of change. And if we let the views of the outside world fall away, there's something beautiful on the inside. Because it feels like these rose petals are a facade. We each have this part of ourselves that we allow the outside world to see, and the inner part that we hide away. And this is a time to shed those outside layers and to embody who we really are. And when we embody who we really are, we care less about what other people think, in general, other people, and we only care what people think when we really love them and we treasure them. And it's not a random person on the street. It's not just society in general. We don't really care what they think of us. We don't know them. They don't know us. So their opinions don't necessarily matter, right? So we let those opinions fall away so we can experience who we really are. Because we're using so much energy holding up these petals, keeping us safe, or in quotes, safe from society's views and ideas and pressures. So we're holding up this disguise. So it's the invitation to let the disguise fall, be who you are, and when you're actually embodying who you are, you're living life for you and what you desire, what you love, and what you value, then you can really feel pleasure. You can feel freedom in expressing yourself. And I feel like that is the message behind those cards. But this is one of those things that it's definitely easier said than done. How many of us over our lives have wanted to do this, but when it comes time, it's scary. There are times where you can jump through it, and other times you feel like you shrink back into the petals. There's no one way to shed the petals or live your life. There's going to be so many invitations throughout your life to release one or multiple of these petals. And it's up to you in the moment to decide if you're ready. And there's no shame in not being ready, because everyone's journey is different. So I find sometimes the messages of not caring what other people think and releasing all these things that don't serve you, it can sometimes make some people who feel like that's a big ask and that's daunting to them, it almost feels shameful that they're not able to do that, or maybe they feel weak, and we don't want to do that. This is a reminder that we don't need to hold these petals up. If it's wasting energy and time and you want to put these down, this is the invitation, the reminder, you can put them down. And I feel like the biggest step in feeling safe enough and feeling ready to put these shields down is community. Finding people who in the center are like you, who are similar to you, are accepting of you. Even if, let's say they're not similar, but people that are accepting of you and you're accepting of them. So a supportive community makes it easier to shed the petals, because when you're around them, you don't need to have these shields up. But then, so when you go and put these shields back up in your everyday life, you feel that stark contrast. Whereas if you're always holding the shields, you're used to it and you don't know any different. But when you lay them down and then hold them up again, you start to notice that strain. And then you also notice the freedom when they are down. And that freedom feels so good, the freedom to be yourself. So I encourage you to find more people in your community that are supportive and leaning into them. And letting them lean into you and spending more energy on them, because when you're with them, you don't need to use the energy of holding up your shield. So you're able to utilize that energy more effectively in building relationships. And it also feels like within those communities, trying to have somebody to be like a mentor or someone that you aspire to be. So someone who you will, when you look at them and you watch them and you're around them, you go, I want to embody that. I want to bring that energy into my life. That inspires me to live that way. So it gives you the motivation, and it's the living proof that it's possible, that you're capable. So allowing yourself to search for these communities, and when you see somebody that maybe you're jealous of, change it to, there's something about them, their life, the way they're living, the way they're being presented in the world, that's something that you want for yourself, and turn it into aspiration instead of jealousy. So having that little flip, and it's someone you yearn to achieve that for yourself, and noticing them so that the things that they're doing, trying to explore the back end of how they got there, so that you can try to make those changes in your life as well. And obviously, if there's something that they've done that you don't want to do, obviously don't do that. But we're getting inspiration and motivation and showing that it's truly possible for you. So this is proof that this is possible. And that's what we're building here. I'm just going to check in to see if there's a last message for these cards for this week. And it feels like, well, the image that I'm getting is when we put down these shields, there's this fear of not knowing who you are, because a lot of people focus on the outside and what they're presenting to the world, and they think that is who they are, but it is not. It is just an extension. It's a piece. It's just like your clothes. You can change them. You are still you. There's a lot of fear around changing the outside shield, and I do feel like a lot of people do use this as a form of protection, keeping people at arm's length of only showing them a piece of themselves. And I feel like just because you're showing more of your inside out doesn't mean that you're just letting everyone in. You can still have boundaries, and you don't need to let everybody into the core just because that shield, those petals, have been placed aside. You still have the choice of who you let in, even though they can see more of who you truly are. So I feel like instead of having that harsh shield, that facade around you, protecting you. It's focusing on the boundaries of what your energy, of how your energy is exerted, and also the energy that's accepted in, and focusing more on that aspect opposed to having a fake outside. I'm just feeling in to see if there's anything else, and I'm just getting reiteration of finding community and focusing on boundaries, creating boundaries instead of using your facade as your shield and your barrier from the world. Thank you so much for joining me. If you would like to connect with me, you can visit my website, spruceenergyhealing.com. I'm also on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or just on my website. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I look forward to talking to you next time.